Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. With me today is
Dr. Neva Alexander.
a woman with many, many roles. So, Dr. Alexander, I had the pleasure of meeting you through the Ascend program. Why don't you tell us about your role working with the Ascend program?
Well, my role, I'm a co-director of the program. So basically, someone else run it together, Dean Bennett, and I'm more on the organizational side, so to speak, but my hands get into every bit of everything that's happening with the program, from recruitment to procurement to making sure the program runs well.
All right. And now tell us about the purpose of the program. Give us some of the background and the history of it, if you will.
Sure. So I started really June of last year, 2023. So to my understanding, the program has been around since 2019, before the pandemic. And the program really we look at individuals who have been in business, hopefully more than 2 years, and have an income of $250,000. That's the mark, and try to get them over that mark. The way the program is structured is pretty much the connection, the money management and market, so the 3 M's, and really trying to get the business to another level, whether it's peer-to-peer, them working to get themselves opportunities together to collaborate, or to work with anchor partners to get opportunities from like prime I was about to say lenders, but prime contractors, to get subcontracts with them.
And why is an Ascend Long Island program, or a program like why is a program that does the work that Ascend Long Island does? Why is that so important?
You know what? What I've seen, there's so many programs maybe out there for startups, although they don't believe there is. Also, of course, for them, it's just really to look for it and it's there. But there's not really a lot of program for those people that are in the middle part. You know, they've started, they need the connections, they need the leverage, they need more knowledge, as far as, and maybe they're at a certain part of their business, they need to know where can they borrow money from, as far as, because, Bach Capital is like a partner, and with them, they're a nonprofit, right? So you don't necessarily have to go to the big banks to get money to borrow to, when I say borrow, it's not just, we borrow money to start business or run business, but maybe they got a contract and they need to get that contract going, but they go to someone like Bach. So certain resources that we're able to give those individuals that need to get to the next level. And what I see, now is like a lot of collaboration with them, and realizing that entrepreneurship, a small business, is a lonely road. And to be able to connect, to be able to come on a session in Zoom every Tuesday from 6:30 to 9. So it's like therapy, right? And then we also have the mentors. So again, we don't charge for the program, but it's valuable, right? So it's really for them. Okay, we don't just select any and anyone. I should say that, right? So we actually interview them. We actually make sure that they understand the program, if we accept them, and that they are committed, right? So being able to have a support system from the mentors to the individuals that oversee the program and those that are in the program and the alums, right? Because even people that left are coming back to assist and just give word of advice to the ones that are in the program. So again, being in the middle of your business, that middle point, if you don't have people to kind of just help you to get over that hump, sometimes you just close shop. Right?
Yeah, no, what a worthy endeavor. And so we also know that it's not just about training the entrepreneurs on management, market, and money, right? Also mindset, right? Which is where the community comes in, the being able to find a person in the room that recognizes your story, has been through your story, still going through a similar story, right?
Definitely. And one of the things that we provide is a mentor that's specifically for that as well. So we have heard individuals come back and say, if it wasn't for Ascend Save Our Marriage, or it wasn't for this particular mentor, because you have business owners who are husband and wife, right? Spouse. So there are a lot of fiction sometimes running a business together and also going home together. So, that, and of course, businesses that had a contract, they thought they had it and they collaborated, and just as they got it, it's taken away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to deal with that and realize that their struggle is not just to them.
Yeah.
And, as a support system.
Yeah. And then also to be able to see someone who has went through the really low lows and stuck with it, persevered, and is now back climbing the mountain, on top of the mountain, right? So those success stories also matter.
Definitely. Of course, we want to hear, we may think, oh, we are the only one that have this struggle, right? And if you just talk it out and, get feedback, sometimes you realize, hey, there is a solution, and it's not just, I'm not just by myself. And if I'm able to sometimes talk it out, someone else will help and just get me to the next level.
Right. And that's the entire reason we're doing this podcast, to highlight the success stories of some of our Ascend Long Island businesses that have come through the program, some of which are currently in the program, and to showcase their journey, showcase their triumphs, showcase their expertise and knowledge on how to get over the lows, how to overcome the mountains and climb them and reach the other side, to really spread that knowledge and spread that word out into the local business community. What I really love about Ascend is that participants get what they come for in the program itself, but organizers and the co-directors and the other partners that support the program, you're working behind the scenes to change things in the local ecosystem, right? Because that matters too.
Definitely. Yes. And what I do love is, when you show passion, that actually sometimes other people see it and go, oh, they really mean business. So it's not just like with the anchor partners. Now we're finding that, oh, they really want to help these businesses. Oh, they'll call us up. There's an opportunity for an example, a paper supplier. Do you have that on board? And just knowing that we are there and they're working to make sure it happens, to give minority opportunities.
Yeah. And so let's talk about these anchor partners, right? We know that when you are within a local ecosystem, there are larger systematic institutions that kind of are the gatekeepers. They're the anchor in the local environment. They are the people who hold the key to opening up the door to a lot of opportunities that are sometimes difficult for our smaller businesses to access.
Right.
So our Anchor Partner Council is intended to help with that, intended to be that support system, be that that tap in, that knowledge source for how do we navigate this environment. Can you share a bit more about the anchor partners that are on board right now?
I'll do a little bit about them. We have a variety from Queens Chamber of Commerce to ACOM Tishman to Albanese to even Hofstra, the diversity department. We have a lot of variety of individuals and from government agencies, and they're coming on board to show the opportunities and also seeing where are we and where we need help. I also want to highlight, because I didn't say it, the community council is this very small, but those are the individuals such as Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce, LIA, Long Island Association. We have individuals who, as a legislator, and also Chase Bank, the local, so that, and their job is really to kind of be our, the air on ground, kind of just let us know what's going on, how, and help us to also get people in the program.
Now, you mentioned Chase, right? JP Morgan Chase is the reason
Yes.
that this program has come together, right? They are a primary sponsor and funder of the Ascend Long Island program. But the Ascend Long Island program is just a microcosm of a national program, right? Can you talk about the national program and how it supports different communities doing this work?
So what I know of the national programs, so the Ascend cities, you have them in different locations. Although we have Ascend Long Island, we also have Ascend New York City. We have in California. And what JP Morgan did is basically fund this program. And of course, there are criterias for individuals to be in the program. They also are very active in having meetings to make sure that we are on the same page, and conferences so that we can see best practices. There's some like the national one, I know that you have to be at the $2 million mark in your business. So that's, another level. And we have had individuals who've come from the 250 mark to go to the $2 million mark to be in the program. But what I can say, they make sure that they're actually supporting minorities in their community. And they're also attached to a lot of universities, but I know that they have a few, maybe Chamber of Commerce, that are also a part of the program.
And so the program was started at the Foster School for Business at the University of Washington, I believe, by Michael Verschow and his team. And the desire to help local businesses to grow came out of this knowledge that many businesses grow when they can access larger contracts through procurement.
Right.
And that procurement process is often elusive to our local and small businesses. So what are some of the strategies that Ascend Long Island puts in place to try to get our local businesses access to those procurement contracts?
So some of the things that we do, we have a session coming up where we actually have the anchor partners that's going to be in the session. We have our anchor partners. We have the meeting, as I mentioned before. We have where we make sure they're connected to our cohort, so they know the individuals in the program, having them, send over their capability statements. They are familiar with who and what, and we ask them, the anchor partners, what do you need? Who do you need for this project? Give us a list, and when we look at that list, who we can match with these individuals. So we're trying to take that active approach. And it's funny because now I feel like I'm running into them a lot in different events, because they're inviting us to stuff that they believe we should be in that room and know about the opportunities. So sometimes they'll tell us about one project and another one is about to come on board, and they're like, get your people ready. We have this waiting for you guys.
And that's amazing, right? And I think that's why a lot of the businesses tap in, because they understand these opportunities are available, and the Ascend program will be around to help open up the opportunities to them. And not only that, but be there in the room with them, because I know you and the other co-director, you guys are in the community working hard to make these connections.
We have to be. And that's a big thing that we notice. It's easy to just say, oh, go to a community event, but you have to go to the right events, right? To meet the right people, the right businesses, to be in the program. And also, I call the big boys. Where are they? And to make sure that we build that relationship.
Yeah. What are some of the events that you've been able to make those connections at?
Definitely LIA. We have like this evening, I'm going to go to an award gala for builders with Queen's Chamber of Commerce to golf. A lot of things happen on the golf course. Hempstead, the town of Hempstead, we went to their event, and not just went, we support as well, right? And from even local networking events, but really it's usually selective. Also, tapping into the Ascend New York City as well, right? Because they have resources. So like tomorrow they have a graduation. I decide I'm going to go, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to meet new people there. So
And connect with other businesses.
of course, yes. So, it's, again, a matter of getting the info, and the government. Yes, I almost forgot that. They have different forums, right? Two is coming up in November in Albany. Going out there and connect, and also the politicians as well.
Right.
Because we need to have them be a mouthpiece.
Right, exactly. So for those of you that are interested, Ascend Long Island program, they take their cohorts, they open up their cohorts typically.
Typically, we start the application process May, June, and the program starts like the end of August, September.
Okay. And what kinds of workshops do participants experience throughout how long is the program?
Well, this particular program started August 24th, and it's going to end December 12th. So with that, we meet every Tuesday at 6:30 to 9, because one thing we found out is business owners at a certain level, it's hard to commit like 2 days. It takes a lot. They'll do it, but it really takes a lot out of them and their business. So we've basically, 6:30 to 9, we find it works, but pushing also the mentorship part, right? Because we have these mentors from mindset to business coach to procurement RFP to certification, right? Getting their state or Port Authority, whatever certifications that they may need. So we also have an open house in the beginning, kind of letting everyone know about Ascend. Then during the middle, we do like a networking, and also we invite the community partners, anchor partners, and the alums and everybody. And then at the end, and December 12th, we're going to have what's called the Opportunity Forum. But we're going to include that more of a holiday graduation kind of mix. And we're going to invite everybody back.
Okay. Wonderful. So look out for the next cohort, because we got one going right now. Look out for the next cohort applications coming out around May or June. But as I started the conversation, Dr. Alexander is a woman of many hats, right? Yeah. So let's switch to one of your other hats.
Okay.
The fact that you are an entrepreneur and a business owner yourself, which positions you so well to be able to mentor and help to develop other up-and-coming businesses that are trying to grow. Now, can you tell us about your business?
Definitely. So my business is called Nevalliance, and I should say one of my business, but the main one is Nevalliance, and it's professional development. Professional development, my focus is really working with entrepreneurs and small business, and that really came out of a personal side where my dad, my granddad, was an entrepreneur, right? my mom's an entrepreneur, but they running a business and not really focusing on how to keep the customer, how to lead, how I've seen some things and I'm like screaming, no, you can't handle things like that, right? And how to market, how to sell. So in my studies, in my doctoral program, I focused in on the relationship between leadership and educational level with small businesses, looking at New York itself. And I wanted to continue that work. And so I decided, why not do it? And within that, I thought to myself, how can I do it? So professional development, I do it through consulting, doing events, and also training. And one of the big things that I do, you could never predict how things will turn out, but I started a women's conference. And the whole thing behind women's conference initially is women leading in leadership positions.
Right.
And I started that in 2017 at Hofstra. And I just kept it there, and it started small. I was happy with it being small, but it kept growing, and I kept going.
Because you had an amazing offering. And I've had the pleasure of attending one of those conferences before I actually knew you more personally through the work that you do with Ascend. And what amazing, fulfilling panels and opportunities to participate and get to know other local businesses, because you also have vendors at that conference.
Yes.
Right? So when you provide, they will come.
Yeah.
They will come.
And to have the opportunity, I should say, the president of Hofstra for 2025, she's going to be a keynote.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
Dr. Poser.
Yes, and I feel like, we've had great speakers, but definitely appreciate that she said yes. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you've had wonderful speakers indeed. I think the year that I went, you had, I believe, the Prime Minister of Jamaica's wife attended, right?
Yes.
It was the keynote. So just amazing opportunities. Now, other than the, hosting of this conference, what else does your business seek to do?
One of the things I do, which I guess I don't really talk about a lot because people tend to come to me, I coach. So I have businesses that I work with a lot, but is in the professional development space. Like they do training, or they do something with wellness, or DEI, and I work with the business owners to grow, scale, and keep their business going. That's one. Also, because of my event, people come to me now to help them with their events. So, many different pockets to what I do. Of course, I don't just take all opportunity, because as a business owner, you have to assess what works and what makes sense and what don't.
Right.
Because you don't want to be burnt out and just spinning in a wheel and going nowhere. Yeah.
So going back to that first one where you coach, right, and you assist business owners with their professional development, what might be the top issues or concerns or places of growth that you have identified when you work with these business owners? And as you mentioned, some of these places of growth, what are some of the strategies that you have provided to your clients to assist in strengthening that area for the business owner?
Okay. So I use an example of one that I have right now. She has the knowledge, but she does not have the exposure, right? So it's where I look, she has everything. She knows her stuff, but people don't know her, right? So no, I'm not into, say, PR and stuff like that, but I say, hey, okay, this is what you need. You need to tell your story. where are you going to tell your story? Here are the outlets to tell your story. How many times you have to tell your story, right? And basically come up with a strategic plan of how things will work for her. People need to not just, you tell your story on many different platforms. How many, reaching out to different organizations to speak on their panel, or if you could do a keynote, but you have to start somewhere. So I wouldn't say keynote right away, because that's the steps. But also here what we're doing as well, the podcast, or you could write, right? Having articles and making sure you're in a room where they need you. They need your service. So seeking those opportunities. So to everyone that comes in front of me, I have to see for myself where they need the help, because it's not just a cookie cutter service that I'm offering. I have to know who you are, what you want, and where do you see yourself in a few years, and how can I position you to get there and position yourself, right? Because it's not just all on me.
Right.
You have to do the work.
Right. So that was one example. What are some other tips and strategies you've provided to clients and businesses along the way?
All right. So other tips and strategies, I've worked with individuals to try to get into the international marketplace. And it's all great. Yeah, you have a product and you want to get to another market. Well, that other market, don't just think you're just going to blow and people going to know you and they're just going to buy whatever you have because it's a third world country that, you are trying to get into. It doesn't work like that. One of the things that I've learned in traveling, depending on where you are, how you meet people, it's different. I am not much for the bar scene. I a lounge once in a while, but the constant. But I've realized I've been in places and the who is who are in the bars.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that, right? So understanding the culture, understanding how they do things is another example of how I've worked with individuals to break through to that market. And of course, I had to study it myself. Another, tribes, right? So you're dealing with certain tribes, and this person won't deal with you if you're dealing with that tribe. So understanding them again, so it's a lot of different things. Again, I have to hear them, understand their story, and whether it's a product that they're trying to get out to everyone. I've also worked with individuals that I felt like they were more consumed with hearing what I have to say than doing the work. Let's be real. It's those that's just, they work that's one particular person I'm thinking of, work 9 to 5, and she's great. She produces natural products, but she was more consumed with the information, not really going out to get the business. And she admitted, I had to show her, you give a deadline, you have to do this. And did you do that? I'll do it next week. So you have those as well.
So you have to prioritize. When you have a client that is in the phase of gathering information and stuck in the gathering information phase, and not prioritizing the work that it'll take to get to step B, step C, right? And continue building the bricks down the path. How do you shift them? How do you shift them into action?
I've literally, because it was in another state, had to fly out and say, come, we're going to do this together. And realizing that I'm serious and that's extreme, by the way. Realizing that I'm passionate to help you, that they made that mind shift. But I have to always bring it back to, why did you start in the first place?
Right.
What is the purpose? And there are times when I have to make a decision to say, am I the best person to assist? Because I cannot help everyone, right? And are they ready? Sometimes it might be, okay, we'll come back to it. Let me know when you're ready. I'll give you 3 months. I'll give you 6 months. Actually, I'd say, how much time do you need?
So as a business owner yourself, how do you know when it's time to potentially walk away from a client?
If it doesn't make you feel right. That's what I'll go with. If you have everything where you put it together and it's just not making you smile anymore, it's just tedious, you're forcing someone to do something they came to you for.
Right.
It's time to make sense of it,
Right.
you know. And you have that conversation with them if you, you know, but if nothing happens, then.
Now, on this journey of pouring into your communities, pouring into the local ecosystem, one business at a time, one person at a time, right? Whatever sort of opportunities you decide to take to do that. How has that stretched your personal development?
That's a good question. My personal development is also, I believe, make me stronger. Having a mindset to realize that everyone is different. Everyone is not like me. Also realizing that I can't change everything. Right? Also knowing to admit when I'm wrong. Right? And so, you know, and that's just in life itself, I believe. Like we feel sometimes we have it all put together. We know everything. But also realizing my personal development, like, no, you can learn something from someone else, no matter the age. Right? So, yeah, I think pretty much, you know, my personal development, understanding myself more and also the individuals that are around me.
Yeah, and that is so key, because how can you service a business, a client, if you are not centered within yourself, if you yourself aren't also growing, aren't also achieving and reach and learning from your lessons, right? Learning from the lessons that life brings your way. So staying with your personal development, with all of the work that you're doing, what do you hope your impact to be?
My impact. So at one point I thought, okay, and I say it and I still do, I joke about it, but I say, oh, I want to make money. I want to make money. But what I do in life is not all about money. I'm making an impact, making others better. I'm making others' voices be heard. I'm making others do things professionally they thought they weren't capable of. So when you get that letter saying thank you from someone 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it might be, just saying thank you. I'm in Botswana. I'm in, you know, and I'm doing what you said, and whatever you said to me and I didn't listen, now it's working, you know, because I've listened. And, you know, so, I mean, it's having the passion, the love, and everything. Yeah.
All right. And so what a wonderful impact that will be, in a legacy to leave behind, right? Because it's the work that you do is about sowing seeds into other people, right? And
Definitely.
And not just sowing, but watering the seeds that are already there.
Definitely.
Right? And so...
Yeah, and when you see, sometimes you think, okay, you know, I've had someone, an executive, come to me and, she's like, do you realize the impact? Do you realize what you're doing? And I'm thinking in my little mind, because I'm like, well, I didn't make money, so what are you talking about? But the impact, again, as I said, is not always about that monetary, right, value. It's about changing someone's life. And that executive mentioned that, she spoke at my conference, and after they called her to do something in DC, and they said, she was going to take the train. And she was like, wait, I don't have to take the train. I'm an executive. Get me on a plane. You want me to get there at a certain time, right? Yes, she can take a train, but if you have a time limit where she has to be, she still have to do her work.
Exactly.
So she spoke up for herself, and she said the first time she walked in a room feeling powerful. And I'm just taking that in. I'm like, I'll take the credit, but, so having that kind of impact on someone feels good.
And I think that's a worthy conversation, because when you are growing a business, but you also have a heart for people, right? There's that constant battle with, how do I make sure I'm maximizing my time and my earning potential, but also some of the community work we are called to do, or we feel called to do, comes with a $0 price tag, right? How do you weigh that? How do you balance that?
But sometimes that zero price tag comes to you in other ways, right? So I have done things where I've made no money at all, but someone in that room heard me, and they came back later on to bring me money, right?
Yeah.
Through different ways, right? Ascend Long Island is actually an example.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. So it comes back to you, right? So let's talk about Ascend, right? What do you desire Ascend's impact to be?
I would really like to see people realize how important it is. I would really like to see that they understand the work that the individuals that are not just attending the program, but behind the scene, from directors, executive directors, everyone, they realize that the work that goes into it is not just another program.
Yeah.
And opportunities itself just doesn't happen by a click of a finger. It takes work. And sometimes you may have someone you're working with, and then you lose them for some reason, and you have to start over that work again. So it's continuously working. So for them to understand, again, this program has its own impact, and it is making people reach another level in their business.
And now tell the audience, what kind of business should be tapping into the Ascend program?
Construction. And I say construction because construction is like one of those businesses that it's the minority. It still need to fill that gold, right? So we have construction, we have professional services. In the program at the moment, we have like cleaning service, we have photographers, media company. We've had lighting companies. We have so many different a luxury gym. We have had, a variety of different individuals. But again, they have to be able to show that they're not a startup. Right? There are other programs that are great for startup, but we don't focus on the startup.
Yeah.
We're hoping that they have things together already, so we can keep pushing them to the next level.
Right, because you have to be established a bit to be able to handle larger contracts.
Definitely,
right? And that's the purpose of the program. Now, for Nevalliance, what are the type of partnerships and opportunities you're looking for? And take this time to remind the audience of your services that you offer.
Sure. So again, Nevalliance, we professional development company. We have the events, we have training, and we have a consultant. What I would like we have the Women's Conference coming up in March 8th. That's actually International Women's Day itself, and sponsors, right? Because the only way we could keep it going is through sponsorship, attending, and we do have vendors that we invite. Also, a leadership retreat is going to be in September next year, 2025, in Jamaica. So I'm bringing a global audience there. Also, we have the Black Business Month mixer that we had in August. We plan to continue that in collaboration with others. So if anyone want to collaborate, whether it is to work with us to assist or to get their whatever they're doing out there, we definitely work with them. Of course, we have to make sure that it makes sense for both of us.
Awesome.
And so that's what we do.
And how can people tap into the Ascend program?
Ascend Long Island, ascendli.com, right? So you go to the website, you'll be able to find, that's the easiest way for me to send you to get information. You could also find on LinkedIn, but I think the website is a great resource just to reach out to us. And you'll find the email on the website, so you could send us a note as well.
Yeah, and that's ASCENDLI.com.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And Nevalliance, how can they find or connect with Nevalliance?
So Nevalliance, NEV, that's a portion of my name, and Alliance, that's the word, NEValliance.com. And you'll be able to find me there. You can also find me on pretty much all social platforms at Dr. Neva Alexander. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today. We appreciate the time, the knowledge, your journey that you shared with us. And thank you especially for how you are uplifting our community members, one individual at a time, one business at a time. And I'm looking forward to these awesome events that you have coming up. So, again, thank you.
And I want to say thank you, because the work that you're doing to put individuals on this platform to get their word out and to get their brand out, it's amazing. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. I love working with you. And to the audience, thank you for listening. See you on the next episode of the podcast.